Okay, beautifuls. Let me just check everything's good for broadcasting. And we are live on YouTube. Hallelujah. Thank you for joining me, beautifuls. Welcome to Self-Love Talks. And tonight's show, or today, whichever part of the world you're in, is called This Is Not the Paradigm You're Looking For. What does that mean? It's all about trying to find yourself where you're not and how to actually find yourself and everything that you're looking for in the right place where you are. Curious. I'm going to get into it. I've had a mega fantastic day doing loads of readings. I've got this big download for you, and I'm really excited to be here. So in a moment, I'm going to jump into that. And just in the meantime, would you please, thank you. Sorry, I'm so like full of all this information. Okay, thank you for being here. Please subscribe, please like, and help this channel. And also, I'm really looking forward to reading your comments, and I'm live, so I'll be reading them as we go along, and hearing what resonates for you out of what I'm going to say, and if this message is for you today. So I'm Tara Love Perry. I'm a self-love teacher and I'm a psychic reader. And I have been doing readings all day. It's been really, really wow. And of course, I do readings all the time, but I'm going to take today's talk from the inspiration of the readings that I had today, okay? And what I'm seeing is that this isn't just what's going on specifically today with these select group of people that I've been working with. But this seems to be something that is happening and catalyzing inside of people absolutely everywhere. So let me know if you're one of these people. So what do I mean by this is not the paradigm you're looking for? What I mean is, let me know if you're one of those people that you're in this world, you're in this reality, this third dimensional reality as we see it, and there's all kinds of crisis going on. There's all things collapsing, and you are that beautiful, gorgeous soul, a true spirit, a true human being, and you kind of know that this isn't the reality that you expected when you came into this life. Maybe you have that very starkly and very intensely where you're just going, I've always known, I feel like I'm kind of on the wrong planet, or this is not what I remember it to be, or not how I imagined it, or just not what I signed up for, right? Or you could have it where you're just kind of going, this world has gone crazy, and this is not the kind of world I want to live in. It's not the kind of world I want to raise my children in. And you want something else. You want something that's more in terms and in alignment with your soul, which is peace, love, unity, a sense of clarity, a sense of purpose, a sense of empowerment to really embody all that you are, right? So this could be something that's new to you, where you're just getting that dawning awakening of, hold on a minute, surely there's something more to this life, to this world, to this sense of reality than appears to be on the surface. There's something more, and you've kind of got that inner pacing going on, like, what is it? Where is it? Where do I find it? How do I get there? Perhaps you're on that part of the journey where you're like, I've been waiting so long. You've been here waiting, feeling like a bit of a lone island, looking for your tribe, waiting for other people like you to get connected, almost waiting for a moment of catalyzation where you know, like a seed pod that's waiting to burst open, waiting for the right temperature, the right climate, the right moment, maybe even the right place on the earth where the divine timing, the perfect timing of your little seed pod of you, your being, your essence, your soul, your gifts, your purpose, your mission is waiting to just burst open, and for all of your amazing powers, your uniqueness to come out. Now, you could be in any stage in between this. Maybe you just like already got started, and you're warming up, and there's a lot of us in this massive stage of transition. Last year, 2023, a lot of people went into cave mode, hermit mode, because it's like there's going to be this new rebirth, And so there's that kind of death in the cocoon, the breaking down of the old self, the old versions, if you like, the old things of you that you thought was your true identity, that you thought was truly you, or that you've kind of been, the roles that you've adopted to get by in the world, to kind of the masking of who you really are. You know, you take on an identity, a persona, so that you can fit in, you belong, you can do something that seems, you know, fairly normal, whether you're in the business environment or the healing environment or the alternative spiritual environment or whatever environment you're in. It's like you find a little spot where you feel like, okay, I can belong here, I can blend in here. But you also know that that had like a sell by date. That was only going to last so long. And after a while, that identity, that persona, that role that you were playing would actually, you know, start to fade away, start to peel away like an old layer and reveal this more true, more authentic you underneath. And perhaps you just know that you have this signature essence and it's wanting to come through in whichever way you relate to that. Let me know how this resonates. Let me know in which way this is playing out for you. And now it feels like it's really the call. It's like the wake up time, the wake up call. And especially for those of you that already consider yourself an awakened being, you know some of the stuff that's going on in the world. You know that the use of artificial intelligence, the use of Hollywood techniques, the use of the media, the characters that are on the stages right now in the world, the big players, the big characters, perhaps you know that this is really a facade, that this is it's like a virtual reality that we're living in. It's the Matrix. It's how can I say? It's like, you know, it's just not real. It's like I'm trying to think of the word and I can't think of the word. It's like when you go into a virtual flight pod or something to fly an aeroplane, to learn how to fly an aeroplane. And you know, when you're in that virtual pod, that you're not really flying a plane, you're learning, but it can feel so real that if you crash, it's like, oh my God, you have that same fear that you're going to die, even though you actually know you're not really flying a plane. You're in this pod. I can't think of the word right now. And life has been a lot like that, right? We've been in this paradigm, this reality, where it just feels like war and greed and the pursuit of power and, you know, all of the things which break the fabric of society up, which break up the family, break up the tribes, and break up our own soul, like fragment us into pieces because we're like, this doesn't fit, this doesn't suit, this isn't who I am. We've been in that virtual reality for a long time now. And it's really that wake up call for even those of you that are aware of that. Like some of you really aren't. And like this is kind of new information or new-ish. And you're like, okay, maybe I heard that before. Simulation, that's the word I'm looking for, right? It's like maybe you thought about this before, heard about this before, and you're thinking, I don't know, how can that be true? There are those of you that are like right in it right now going, I know that this old simulation, this old reality, this old matrix is falling apart. The illusion is becoming so obvious that you can see through the cracks. You can see the set. You can see that it's fake. You can see that it's not the true reality. And there are those of you right now that are in the middle of transitioning from this virtual reality, this old paradigm, into the new paradigm, which is not really new at all, although it feels new for us, right? It's that sense of coming home. It's that sense of, okay, I don't have to fit in. I don't have to wear this persona. I don't have to carry out these roles. And a few weeks ago, I talked about the weight of responsibility in your gifts and all of that stuff. And that's completely linked to what I'm saying right now. You can find that video on my channel. But it's like you no longer have to keep playing the game. And some of the people that I'm seeing now are like straddling those two paradigms going. I know that I'm supposed to be in this new place, this new reality, this peace, love, bliss, utopia, new earth, just altogether a more holistic, happy, safer, healthier world where we want free energy, where we want families to come back together. We want to grow our own gardens. We want to be sustainable. We want to be into regeneration and, being really true, loving guardians of our beautiful Mother Earth and working together cohesively and in harmony, right? We know we want that reality. But there's been this splitting apart, like the fabric has been pulled apart, just like we've felt pulled apart. And there's this enormous sense of pressure, this enormous squeeze on everybody right now, because you can't straddle that world. You can't live in one paradigm, one reality, and buy into it and keep feeding it, keep believing what you're told on the news, on the media, buying into this whole, oh gosh, what do you call it? Like pursuit, but unhealthy pursuit for power, for money, or even, you're struggling as a family or you're struggling as a person for money. Even that is like still buying into the whole old paradigm that you need money to exist. And if you don't do it, where's it going to come from? It's that survival instinct, that survival pattern. And also kind of buying into all of the stuff about the war and there potentially being a third world war and all of this kind of stuff. Like it's enough to really wring you out and take, cause you so much stress in your nervous system, cause you so much fear, panic, anxiety. It's going to bring up all of that stuff. And you can continue to try and manage it and go, oh my gosh, I'm panicking. How do I survive? How do I sort this out? How do I move through it? How do I succeed in that old paradigm? Or you can move into the new one and be like, okay, who am I really? It's time to really tune in. So that security of reality is not around you right now. Just imagine you're in like a virtual reality machine. You're in that flight simulation pod and it's all going bonkers and it's scary. And all you have to do for a moment is take the VR goggles off or step out of the simulation machine and go, okay, on one level, that is happening. And for all of the people that are plugged into it and the people that are running, projecting that reality, that you can say that is a kind of reality that is actually happening, but you don't have to invest in it. You don't have to be a part of it. You can actually step out of it. And by stepping out of it, I mean stepping into yourself. It means taking your sensory attention from this out here and plugging your sensory attention in here fully. All the tools you have in the box, all your senses, you're seeing, you're hearing, you're speaking, you're sensing here, tasting, you're feeling, your sense of gut instinct, your sense of heart knowing, your sense of sacral knowing, your body wisdom, all of your sensitivities, and even your sense of touch as well, and plugging them right back into you and connecting to the part of you that knows that this is not your reality. This is not the reality. And you've always known this. And this voice may have been quieted, it may have been buried, it may have been forgotten about, but this voice in you is really needing your attention. Your soul is needing your attention. Your true essence is needing your attention. Because when you do that, when you plug in and feed that, strengthen that, like calm your nervous system down, get into your breath. And I've done videos on this in the last few weeks, so that's all there. All the instructions are already laid. It's already right there for you. Go back and watch those about tapping into your authentic self, about connecting to your breath. And when you do that, it's like it's going to really bring you into congruence with coming home, with entering that new reality, that new paradigm that you so wait for, that you long for, that you're looking for, right? That you want to see in the world, that you want to see as your real life version, as your new reality. Okay, I'm trying to put different words on it because you're going to be thinking, each one of you is going to have a different language, a different word, a different description. So I'm trying to use different words, to kind of cover all of those possible descriptions that you might have. But you get the idea, hopefully. And it seems impossible. It can be like, well, yeah, Tara, I can do that. And I can start connecting to my true self and feeding that energy of me, that truth of me, and giving that attention, enabling that to really grow, to really anchor, to really empower up inside. But what about meanwhile? What about meanwhile when I need to pay this bill and that's happening, this is happening, and meanwhile you're feeling everybody else's stuff, and meanwhile it's like crazy stuff is going on around you. And it's like that takes mastery. It's like an initiation. Although you don't have to call it that. It doesn't have to be that kind of intense and serious. It can just simply be a choice. Which reality do you want? Which paradigm do you want to be part of? Which wolf are you going to feed? The white wolf or the black wolf? Right? And I'm not saying either one is better. It's just which one is really most aligned to you? Which one is your truth? Which one do you want to be a part of? And if you want to help the world rebuild and you want to make a better world, then doing it, trying to do that in the current storm, or I was going to say the S word then, but I'm not going to say it. No swearing tonight on this video, right? If you want to try to make something better, heal something, fix something, build something in a reality, in a world that is crumbling, that is completely falling apart, you're going to really have a hard time. It's going to feel pointless and fruitless. It's going to feel like swimming upstream, like a battle you can't win. Does that make sense? You can't fix that paradigm. It's like getting to the end of a book and the last chapter is right on the last page. And then you want to say, hold on a minute, let me go back and rewrite that book. Let me go and fix that. Let me heal it. It doesn't need it. It just needs you to read the last chapter and say, thank you very much. That was a great book, great story. Really enjoyed that experience, or really enjoyed that flight simulation. It was bonkers and it was brilliant. And it was like, wow. And then you close the book. Thank you very much. Come out of the simulator, close the door. Thank you very much. Take the goggles off, put them back in the box. Thank you very much. End of that reality. Right? That's a choice that you can make. That's the choice that we are all faced with right now. Does that make sense? And all the ifs and buts and what about this and what about that and all the fears and all the worries and all the reasons that you're kind of programmed to tell yourself, right? These are conditioned in. This is the wounding. This is the programming of, well, you can't just step out of that because this, and this might happen. That's not really your truth, right? If you're really honest with yourself, you take a deep breath and feel this right now. That's not really your truth. Your truth is you are here to herald a new reality, the new paradigm. You're here to tune into yourself, first build that reality, meet that reality, align with that reality that you already are. You are the seed. All right? So you have to put your attention, your energy, your focus internally into the seed of you. And when you do that, you start plugging in, connecting to divine source, you connect to the Gaia, to earth energy, to the heart frequency of the earth. When you connect to your own divine spirit, your own amazing, unique, incredible powers and gifts that you are, the way that you've been immaculately designed, just you, and your specific place in this new earth, in this new world, in this new reality, you start bursting out of that little shell of yours. But you have to like fill it full of your attention first. You have to be fully in it, fully invested, fully committed into this new journey of what you're here to grow, of what you're here to build, of what you're here to seed. Does that make sense? You can't focus on what's going on outside. You have to focus on you. And every single other person also has their, let's call it divine mission, their higher purpose, their reason for being, their role, their true place in this wonderful new experience, new seeding of this reality. Everybody has their perfect position, if you like. Not everybody will say yes to it, though. A lot of people will go down with a sinking ship because they're trying to still get what they want, what they always longed for, what they thought God promised them that they would get if they worked hard enough, and they'll eventually get it out of that old paradigm, that old reality. But the story's closing, the book is ending, the ship is sinking. You can't retrieve something from something which is ceasing to exist for you. Does that make sense? And I'm finding a lot of this with people who are looking for love. You're looking for your dream partner, your soulmate, the one that's on the same frequency as you, the one that's on the same level of consciousness as you, the one that gets you, the one that can love you, receive you for all that you are in your bigness and in your smallness and everything. And it's like, oh, I need to just hang on in there because I want to get that love. And my darlings, it's not there. In the reality that is sinking, in the paradigm that is sinking, the only love that exists in that reality is you. You are the love. You are what you long for. You are the reality that you're seeking. It's not in any of those structures. It's not in those governments. It's not in those institutions. It's not in the education system. It's not in the social medias. It's not in any of that. Does that make sense? And some of you will just not be getting what I'm talking about at all. Hopefully most of you are, because you can think, well, is the world going to change then? Is the world just going to fold up like a book and then what? We're in a void. That's not how realities work. You can still relate to this earth, that you're in this human body, you're in this mortal matter, you're on this earth dimension where everything feels solid, right? However, we know that everything is energy. Matter is energy. Everything that we can see, taste, touch, sense, smell, it's all a different frequency of energy. Just like colors in the rainbow, it's a different frequency of the energy. And so everything in our lives is like that. And so the frequency that we're naturally on a high soul level attuned to in our soul essence is a higher octave, a higher frequency than the reality of all of that old world stuff, all of the stuff that is crumbling, the financial systems, the education systems, all of those systems, they are crumbling. You don't want to salvage anything from that. You want to just let it sink. You want to let it crumble. You want the tower to come down, right? And you can, I totally lost my thread there for a minute. What was I saying? That construct is made without love. It doesn't have the same frequency as you do. Does that make sense? You may have adjusted your frequency to fit into it, lowered your vibration to fit into it, taken on burdens and baggage of shame, guilt, self-hatred, all of this heavy, nasty guilt, responsibility, all of that heavy stuff to bring your frequency down so that you have a frequency match with that level of reality, that level of creation. But now the frequency band is stretching out, and it's like you can't stay in both frequencies at the same time. You have to choose which frequency. You have to choose if you're going to stay with that old that's crumbling and get broken down and just say, okay, I'm done. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go out with the old. And that's perfect for you. If that's your soul choice and that's how you truly feel in your heart and your soul, That's the right choice for you. It's not the end. Nothing ever truly dies in this life. You get recycled, the energy gets remolded, your soul will live on and have another experience, right? It's not the end. You can't escape your troubles, your issues, your burdens, your baggage by simply, dying, because you end up carrying them with you in your soul, and you just remanifest that, you recreate that, you get born again into a new life, because you can't destroy energy, you can't kill it, you can just transform it. You can go through one form and out and into the ethers and then into another form, right? It's not just nothing. Life continues. So you can choose that path. And that's perfectly fine. If that feels right for you, that's right for you. And you are still going to be completely loved. You are still going to be, loved by the divine. There's no judgment. There really is. There's no judgment. Any judgment that comes into that is only from yourself. Or you can be like, actually, my true frequency isn't really a match for this reality that I'm living in, the way that the systems are set up, the way that society's set up, all of this programming, all of this indoctrination, all of this control, all of this helplessness, all of this fear. It doesn't fit me. It's not who I am. And that frequency, it's really like pulling you out, going, okay, come into who you really are. Embody your true frequency. That reality, you can have two frequencies that are next to each other, like two different tuning forks next to each other, but you can't put them together. They'll cancel each other out and it will just crash. So you can move them apart and be like, okay, I'm going to choose the true me, or I'm going to choose this other, more denser, heavier version. You can choose. And if you go with your true self, your true soul, that higher frequency that you are, it means dumping all the baggage in the old world, leaving it there. That can include your emotional baggage, your beliefs, the indoctrinations about things, the things that you thought were true because you were told that they were true about the world, about space, about money, about governments, about all of it, right? You can just dump it all in there and go, that's all going to go. You can also leave all the emotional attachments and ties that go with that, the shame, the guilt, the hurt, the betrayal, the wound. That all belongs in that old world. That isn't really yours. Okay, you put it on, you borrowed it to match the frequency and fit in. Now you can just give it back. Forgive yourself that you took it on. You needed it at the time. Now you don't. And it also includes the physical stuff. So the physical things that we get attached to, like, oh, I've got to pay for that, and I've got to agree, do as I'm told. I have to continue whatever. I'm not going to name it, okay? I don't want to suggest anything that any of us could, I don't know. I'm not going to talk about the physical things, but you can imagine those physical ties when you think, oh my God, I so want to connect into myself and go through this transformation and come into my true self and emerge into that new reality. But I've got to do this, this, and this in this old world, and I can't let that go. Or you're scared if you don't do it, then you're going to get into trouble, right? The threat is if you don't do it of what's going to happen to you. That also still belongs in that old world. Now, I can say this to you, and I don't want you to just believe me. I'm sure you're not going to, right? You're too smart, you're too wise for that. It's breathing this in and noticing and feeling if what I'm saying actually resonates with you. And thank you guys, because you guys that are listening, it does resonate with you, right? You get it. Because truth does resonate. I'm not coming on here to feed you something and distract you from what's really going on. I'm not here to kind of pull you away and suck your attention and be like, just follow me. I'm here really to just be like, hey guys, remember who you actually are and what you came here for. And now's that time. Now's that time, but we've got to exit. It's like, get out now. Disconnect from that. Yes, you're still going to be on this earth, but you're going to be in a different frequency band. So it feels like the realities are splitting. And in some cases, or in some senses, we could go into the quantum physics of it. That is happening. We can go into the timelines. We can go into the cosmic level of that. And there is a split. There has been. And so It's like if you put a foot in a boat here and a boat here, and for a while those boats are going along down the same river, you're pretty good. As long as you can keep your balance, you're pretty good. You can have a foot in both worlds. But now they're going like that. So you have to choose a boat. You have to choose your frequency. You have to choose your paradigm. Which one do you belong in? Get into one or the other. Don't try and straddle both because you're just going to, you can put your own comment on that, what that looks like when you just go, and it's really going to hurt. And it is hurting a lot of you. And I get it. So choose a boat, choose a reality, because what you're actually looking for, what you've always been looking for, maybe you've spent lifetimes looking for this, is actually in this frequency, which is already set up, it's already there. It's like your oversoul or your higher self or your divinity or your God, whatever you want to call it, right? Various different aspects of that. We'll just say the higher consciousness, right? To cover all of those things, those labels that we can use. But the higher consciousness of you, the higher collective consciousness, the higher consciousness of source, of divinity, that frequency band has always existed. And you know that because it's where you came from. That's why it resonates so much when I talk about it, or when you hear other people talking about it, or when you tap into that part of you, or you have some kind of experience that reconnects you to that, right? It's already in existence. It's not a new paradigm. It's an existing plane of experience. It's an existing an existing reality. And so you're just retuning yourself or detuning out of the old one so that you can retune and recalibrate into your true nature, your true reality, your true paradigm. And that's where everything that you want is waiting for you. That's where the love that you seek is waiting for you, because in that reality is a place of love. It's attuned to love. It's a frequency of love. That's the bottom line, is unconditional absolute love. You won't find that in this old reality. You won't find pure unconditional love. It's very few and far between, and those lights get extinguished pretty fast, right? It's really hard to sustain it and actually spread it too much, because it gets distorted, it gets messed up, it gets polluted, right? Because of the energy of that paradigm. It doesn't allow for it. That's the heavy, dense energy. This one over here, that reality, it is baseline, absolute unconditional love. We could call it fifth dimension. We could just call it new earth. And it's got all the higher bands of frequency. From there, you can keep tuning into that more and more and more harmonic, higher vibrational sounds, which are absolutely beautiful, right? You could say it's heavenly, the heavenly bodies, the different levels or attunements of the different kinds of love that we can feel. And it's amazing. So that baseline is unconditional love. So the love that you're looking for, that pure unconditional love between man and woman, parent and child, man to man, woman to woman, human to human, human to animals, animals to, everything else. It's like, it's all love. And everything is attuned to that love. So it naturally fits you. That's conducive to you. That's where your flow is. That's where you'll find the love that you're looking for outside of yourself, in others. You'll find and meet others in that reality that are like you, that resonate the same as you. Right? Is this making sense? But first of all, you have to get yourself into that resonance, that vibration. You have to give yourself pure unconditional love. You have to bathe yourself in it, internally, externally, all the way through. Your little seed needs to get soaked in pure unconditional love of you, the love that you are, the love that's always been. And it's so pure and it's so simple and it's so easy, but we have such a huge amount of resistance because of all the fear that's been built up of coming back into true vibration with ourselves and right relationship with ourselves, for fear of what we think might happen to us. And a lot of this, if you believe in past lives, is because we have that really ancient memory. We remember everything in our subconscious and unconscious mind, in our soul library, in our DNA, in our cells, in our water. Like we're walking libraries of information. And we have those memories where last time when I was my true self, everything went wrong. I was persecuted, I was killed, I was tortured, I was hung out to dry, I had too much responsibility, I didn't fit in, people didn't approve of me, whatever. All of those old stories of persecution wound. So we're afraid of moving into that new paradigm now in case all of those old persecution stories will happen all over again. You'll be poor, you'll be alone, you'll have nothing. It's not true. That's old paradigm stuff that's still sticking to you, right? You've got to leave that in the old paradigm. Does that make sense? It's like we got to separate it out. What's true and what's not? What's really you and what was just stuff that got attached from this sticky, icky old world, right? Where the love isn't. Does that make sense? So really what you're looking for is not in this paradigm, right? This is not the paradigm. This is not the paradigm you're looking for. It's in that frequency where the baseline is love, where you recognize yourself as love. You recognize your true colors, your true soul essence, your true unique and amazing frequency. And by loving yourself unconditionally, all that you are, the love will automatically separate what's not true from what is true. Love has an amazing way of doing that because love is true. True love, right? True love will always be true to you. You don't need to fear it because it's true and it will always be true. And so in that love, only truth can exist. You can't have other stuff and still call it love. No, it's like saying I'm going to drink pure water, but oh, it's contaminated by fluoride or it's contaminated by a bit of chlorine. Then it's not pure water anymore, right? But that purity of love has this ability to separate out everything that isn't love. So the longer you stay in that pure, unconditional self-love bath, anointing, blessing, loving, including, accepting, receiving, really deeply, completely receiving unconditionally all these parts of you, then you're catalyzing that new frequency, that new tone. And in that, your reality then manifests on the outside. You're a vibrational match with it. But like I said, that reality already exists. So it's not so much as you manifesting it, it's more you put yourself in alignment with what's already happening. You put yourself in alignment of where the true abundance, not the greed and money grabbing of this world, but the true abundance. And that can still include money. I don't know, maybe that does still include money, but it's a different frequency or it's a different way of exchanging or it's different. It's just different. It's not what we've been used to. Okay, it's where you find that true love. It's where you find your true soul purpose, what you were born to seed, what you were born to really activate. Even if you're 70 years old and you've been doing the same healing work for the last 50 years and you're like, well, I've always been a healer and now what? It's like, well, maybe your role as a healer was your way of fitting in. Maybe your role as a healer was your way of saying, look, I'm a bit odd, but if I'm in service to you, I'm a bit different. So I'm going to be in service to you. And then you'll love and accept me. And I can try and bring more of my frequency into this world. And maybe you can accept me and love me a little bit more. And it's kind of that way of, fitting in. Somebody wrote to me the other day, somebody who's been following these videos. I'm going to give you a shout out, Robert. He wrote something in an email. What did he say? Those of us that have chosen attachment over authenticity. Right? I'll say that again. Those of us that chose attachment over authenticity. So in whichever way we could remain attached to society, to our parents, to others, and be attached into that world, right? An unhealthy attachment, probably yes, right? Doing whatever you had to do to survive, doing whatever you had to do to make sure that you were cared for, you could be part of that world. Now it's the detachment and going into authenticity. Choose that one. Choose that one. Because with that one, maybe you can't see it yet. Maybe you're still in that phase of you're so stressed, you can't see clearly, you can't feel clearly, you don't really know, you're doubting yourself, you're freaking out, you're getting it and then you're not getting it, you're blipping in and out like of the realities of the frequencies. Maybe you can't see what's coming. Maybe you're so deep in that process of transformation right now, like in your cocoon, becoming that, a new amazing being. You don't really know what's going to happen once you burst out, once your little seed pod bursts open. But you actually, I want to say, maybe you can't see it, but you already know it. You already know that reality that you were born for. You've always known. But it's like awakening to that within yourself, reawakening to what you already know, what you've always known. That maybe you've been a healer to get by, but you're not a healer. You don't need to heal others. You need to just shine bright. You need to be seen. You need to just be you. You need to be authentically, powerfully, brilliantly, beautiful you. Maybe you need to spend the next part of your life just gardening or playing with kids or swimming in the sea or something. And you have no responsibility to heal anybody because you don't need to. Because in this new paradigm, everything is provided, everything is given. We've already set it up. And that might sound really hard to believe. And you think, okay, well, what will my role be? How will I contribute? Well, some of that's still old paradigm stuff, right? But we are here as creators. We're co-creative beings. We can't help but want to get involved and join in. And, like a little kid, maybe a little boy, you see your dad fixing the car and you want to pick up a spanner and join in and help daddy and pretend that you can fix the car too. You want to get involved. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have been gender specific then. You don't have to be a little boy to want to help daddy fix the car. I was that little girl that was down in the cellar with my dad with my own toolbox, at 8, 9 years old, sawing things and drilling holes and making tables. I absolutely loved it. I was hanging out with my dad. That's what I did to hang out with my dad. Maybe you're that kid that's like, I want to spend time with mum. Mum's always in the kitchen. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go and start hanging out in the kitchen and joining in, and I contribute, and then I'm helpful and I'm useful and I'm helping mummy. And now she wants me in the kitchen with her and I'm joining in. That's what I'm talking about, is that attachment, that bonding so that you get loved. And so maybe you're kind of coming into this sense of, okay, new paradigm, new earth. So what's my role there? How do I join in? How do I connect? How do I contribute? Well, the thing is, as a seed, all you have to do is let yourself grow. All you have to do is give yourself permission to open, 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 release, 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 release. Receive incoming rays of light, of love, of source, of energy, of information, those codes that come in through the sun, from divinity, from your genius self, that inspiration, that breath, that spirit. Receive the nurturing of the earth, receive the nurturing of Gaia, the mother beneath you. In reality, you don't need to do anything to appease your mother earth or your father sky, your mother earth and father God, or whatever, which way you want to put it, source energy. You don't need to do anything. You're already loved. And with love comes abundance, because abundance really is love. Love is abundance. Love is fertile. Love is fruitful. Love is connected. Love is giving. Love is also receiving. And you're just receiving, 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 allowing yourself to expand, allowing yourself to root, allowing yourself to just be you and express and explore. And it's a bit like being a child and starting all over again and going, okay, what can I do? I'm going to, maybe I've always, wanted to play the trumpet. I'm just going to play the trumpet. Maybe you've always wanted to paint. You're just going to start painting. Maybe you've always just wanted to grow a garden. You're going to grow a garden. Whatever it is, it'll just be you naturally being you, expanding and growing into that new frequency, growing into that new environment, that new world, that new earth. Okay. And maybe you're thinking, okay, well, I'm a business head, I'm a genius, or I'm an engineer, and I want to build this, and I want to do that, and I want to, create a new way of exchanging commodities, or a new way of serving other people, or a new way of building houses, or a new way of, fill in the blank, whatever it is. Then if that's the genius seeds inside your genius pod, then those are the seeds that will come out. That's what you will begin to grow. The wisdom, the knowledge, the know-how is already inside of you. It's not something you really have to go and attain. That's old school. That's old world, where you go like, well, you know nothing. We're going to open your head and fill it full of information. And then you're going to learn this, this, and this from this book, this book, this book, and from this history and that lecture and that study and that science. And it's like, no, you already have everything you already need to know. It's inside of you, just like a seed. It's so intelligent. You just plant that seed. You nurture that seed and you just allow it to grow. Don't keep moving it around, doubting, wondering if you're in the right place. Just allow it to grow. And all of that genius is going to flourish out of you. Everything you always wanted, everything that you came pre-packed, pre-knowing, preconceived inside of you. It's already there. And it will just start growing. Now, you've already done this experience once, coming from a seed from your mother, or a seed from your father, rather, and an egg from your mother that was conceived. And then you just grew, and you grew according to the environment that you're in. And now there's this kind of a death experience that loads of people have been going through. And if you haven't had it yet, you will. Everybody gets their turn. It kind of happens in waves of different groups of people at any one time, so that everybody's not going through the same exact thing at the same time, right? So you're going to be going through, if you haven't already, what you might call ego death, or just that old identity falling away, or your old attachments to the old realities falling away. What you thought was true, what you thought was real, all is going to come undone. It's just going to be ripped apart. And it's going to be really quite scary and disillusioning for a lot of people. Perhaps you've already been through that phase and you got scared and you got disillusioned and you're like, holy hell, I thought that was real and it isn't. I thought that was true and it isn't. I thought that history story, that religion, that news, that whatever it was, and it's not real. And it's disillusioning. And that's just you coming out of the old world and stepping into that new one, right? But you've already done it once. You've already been born as a little tiny seed and you grew in your environment and you adapted. So now there's that death experience. And it can be physical, literal death to start again and be rebirthed. Or it can be kind of like a metaphysical, where the psyche gets altered, where the ego dies, where everything gets left behind, right? And you're left with the true nugget of you, the pure you. That is feeling a lot like death to people. So it can be literal or non-literal. Either way, it's all energy. It just looks different on the outside. But that transition ultimately is the same, whether you stay in your body or leave your body. You're still transitioning into this new paradigm, this new frequency. And so you start again. It's like the real true kernel, the nugget, the seed of you. You just start growing just like you did when you were a little baby in this lifetime. And you will grow and adapt according to your environment. And that environment is love. You're choosing that as your reality. Does that make sense? And it really is a choice, because we've been born with this blessing, with this gift of free will. That doesn't change. You get to choose which reality you want, which paradigm you want. You get to choose if you do it in the next life or this life, or in 10 lives' time. It's completely up to you. You can keep recycling through this old version, this old world that I keep referring to. And you can say, well, I'm not done with this old world yet. I kind of like the misery and the war and the suffering and the lessons that are here and discovering who I am. And, if that's true for you, great. You're going to keep coming back as many times as is needed, or as many times as you like, because you actually have a choice. You can call it the karmic loop, the karmic soul cycle, where you just stay on earth. You keep getting recycled, reincarnated back to earth, and you're a human being again, and you have to, learn and grow and evolve through the same old lessons. And some people have got more of that to do. They're not ready to go. They like this old world. They're still getting to know it, right? But it's going to keep doing, the history will repeat itself. It's in a loop. It's stuck in a loop. Or you can be like, well, I'm done with that loop. I've been around it 20 million times already. I don't want to do any more loops. I'm good. I'm actually ready to experience something completely new. I'm going to move into that love paradigm, that love frequency now. You can choose, because your will is the divine's command. Like, whatever you so choose shall be. You are a highly intelligent being of source consciousness. You're a creator soul. You can choose what you want. You don't have to do this same looping, same situation, same pattern over and over and over again. You can just say, no, I'm done. I'm out. I'm choosing love. I'm choosing to be authentic. I'm choosing to detach. I'm choosing to release and let go, and I'm choosing to receive what's truly there for me. Just like a little kid all over again, adapting to your new environment, growing into your new environment, recalibrating, going sense with all your senses, right? Connecting to maybe it's like a reattachment, but with love, attachment means something very different in love. Like, when there's real love, there's kind of no attachment, but there's no unattachment, if you know what I mean. It's like, it's cohesive, it's togetherness, it's unified. Attachment doesn't really fit here, right? It's just authentic, it's pure, it's real. So you don't need to worry about attaching yourself to an idea or an ideal of what you think is going to happen or what you think you should be doing. You're just going to grow into it. Like a seed growing in the forest, you're just going to adapt to the environment, and the environment's going to suit you. It's going to be a vibrational match with you. It's going to keep expanding you, keep growing you in brand new ways that you've just been feeling and sensing as a potential that's untapped. But now is when that potential finally starts to come out. And you really have to have the patience. You really have to have the self-compassion. You really have to have the ability to keep dropping in, surrendering and breathing and receiving. So you're not pushing it, right? You're not bringing any of those old patterns with you. You're just surrendering into and receiving what's right there for you in any moment. Being in the stillness, allowing it to come to you, just like when you were a baby. Everything came to you. But it will be different this time, because everything that comes to you will be in that vibration of love. It will match you. It will be right for you. It's a good fit. It's the right environment for you. It's your time. It's your paradigm. And everything you want is right there, right? It's literally just be ready to and willing, choose to receive. That receiving is so important. It's humbling. And in order for us to really experience love, we have to be in a humble place. We have to be in constant surrender to that love. It's so powerful. We can't fight with it. You just surrender to it, receive it, breathe it, be it. Keep saying yes to it. Like, yes, more love, more love, more love. And it keeps us really in that beautiful, humble, open, sincere, genuine, innocent place where there is infinite possibility. And get ready to experience that infinite possibility actually materialize, manifest in a physical enough way that we actually experience it, right? In this human body, still in this human body, slightly altered. We could say in our lighter bodies, our higher frequency bodies. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I hope that this is helpful and useful to you. Keep drinking it in, seeing what fits, seeing what resonates with you, receiving it. An analogy that I love to give is like, if I'm a watering can and I'm pouring the water of my words all over you and you're that little plant, can you just soak it in? See what resonates with you, receive what's right for you, let it nurture you, let that kind of activate that seed of you, giving you permission, giving you, not that you need my permission, but like giving you the confirmation, the validation that perhaps you were looking for, so that it can activate you, so that it can help align you with the choices that you truly are here to make and that you want to make, okay? It's all good. You are completely loved, held, safe, and provided for. You are completely looked after. And everything's just working out exactly as it should. All right. So remember that. I love you. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for being here.